Omer from MMOs.com. I'm going to do a quick first impressions gameplay video for Flyff For Funv, free-to-play anime-inspired MMORPG developed by Gala Labs and published by Webzen. I'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes running around checking this game out. Make comments if you guys want to play Flyff or just learn more about it. Do check out the whole review on MMOs.com on the link below. So let's get started. You can very quickly see there's almost no appearance customization. A lot of these old games really didn't focus on appearance customization, and Flyff is one of those. This game came out back in 2005, so it's definitely an oldie. As of this video, it's a bit over 12 years old, which is pretty nuts. So we'll go to character I made a few hours ago. I got myself to level 15 in like 3 hours of casual grind. And let's jump right in. You guys can see my password over here, my pin number, totally secure. Totally not 1 through 4, but let's get in anyway. This is a game I played back in the day when it was published by G-Potato, and it has since been acquired by Webzen, and they've been running the game. It's worth mentioning too that the game, despite its age, it still gets updated fairly regularly. I think the last big update was back in February of 2017, and I'm on the PvP server right here. I don't think it's the biggest server, but you can see a bunch of people in the game. The starting area is still fairly packed. It's always nice to see when you first get into a game, see an area pretty busy. And there are a bunch of people still playing this game. This is definitely an oldie again. The visuals aren't great, but I do want to say for a 2005 game, the camera controls, the crispness, and all the crispness, it sounds like Christmas, but I'm trying to say crisp. But it still looks fairly decent. Camera controls are great. You can move with WSAD as well as point and click, whichever you want. But much like many other old games, they did try speeding things up, but not in the same way MapleStory and other games did. Instead, leveling is still a bit of a slow process. However, you can talk to Buff Pang in town and get tons of free buffs. And it makes you level up a bit quicker because of those awesome buffs. So we'll take those buffs and let's go find our way into a nice grind spot. We're going to be going outside town and hopefully run to our grind spot. The WSAD controls are nice, and I do like the graphics. Even though it's 2005, it looks a lot better than some MMORPGs that came out in the same era. I'm talking about games like Thang Online, games like Legend of Ares. A lot of MMORPGs came out around this time, and I think this anime aesthetic holds up fairly well. It's obviously not great, but it still holds up fairly decently. My character is a mercenary. One of the games, I believe, there's 4 jobs essentially once you hit level 15. Level 1, you start as a vagrant. It's a classless class, and you choose your first job at level 15. That's like a process a lot of MMORPGs kind of gave up on. I feel like most MMORPGs now, you kind of pick a starting class rather than being a novice. Ragnarok Online had novices as well. And this is also one of those games where there are almost infestations of enemies outside town. They're in these giant groups of enemies. You can see everything over here. It's also nice to see giant open areas, another thing that a lot of games kind of gave up on. Obviously, you have games like Black Desert that still have it, and Revelation has it as well, and a bunch of other games, but most MMORPGs have smaller zones these days, so seeing these big, persistent areas is definitely fairly nice. The world in this game is quite large as well, actually. It's much bigger than this over here. You can see all the different regions. We can see the world map over here, too. You can see all the islands of Flyff. These are all fairly low-level enemies. Good old pukes. If you played Flyff back in the day, some of these enemy names will definitely give you some nostalgia. There's a bunch of quests in the game too, but being an older MMORPG, you could be typically doing a lot of grinding. So let's go kill this puke right here. Only level 7. We're going to go fight our way towards a little bit deeper in this beginner area and fight some bangs that are level 19 when we can get there. They're all the way over there, so we got to make our way over there. But there are 4 classes at level 15, and then after that, each class branches off into 2 other options upon reaching level 60. I should say though, the grind in this game is definitely not for the weak of heart. The pacing of a lot of MMORPGs have changed over the years. Basically, any old school MMORPG you play, at least when they launched, they were always very slow paced. Good old La Wolf. I played on La Wolf back in G-Potato days. That was the name of the server I used to be on, though that server is no longer around, I believe. But the pacing here is definitely slow. Even getting to level 15 and getting your first job change is a bit of a process. It takes a while. And the good thing about slower paced experienced games is you can really appreciate the growth a bit more. In so many MMORPGs, when you get new gear, you get so strong so quickly, you really don't appreciate the fact that your character is getting stronger, and gear and everything really doesn't mean too much because you change gear so often. You gotta go this way, gotta go across the bridge. Oops, right over there. So here, it's definitely slower paced. The only newer game that has really slow paced leveling, I would say, is probably Record of Lodoss War Online. But beyond that, most games have sped things up quite a bit. But there's still an audience for games like this. I mean, people still play at Flyff for a reason. Unfortunately, the game is called Flyff for Funv. Flying was definitely a crucial element of the game back in the day, though we really can't show you that till level 20, and I didn't get there quite yet. so I can't show you the signature feature of flying. In-game flying for MMORPGs was definitely a big deal back in 2005. I forget when WoW released their flying mounts, but I know games like Perfect World and Fly for Fun were pretty early on the whole flying element. A lot of Chinese MMORPGs especially are big into flying and flying mounts, but I forgot when WoW released their flying mounts. But flying was definitely a really cool deal in this game, and a lot of MMORPGs didn't have flight, so it was definitely a neat element. And it's funny that the game kind of labels itself Fly for Fun, like that was its crucial feature. But really beyond, it's overall a fairly impressive game still. I mean, it really looks okay even now. And if you can get past the grind, it doesn't offer anything unique today, but it's still a pretty fun grinder. It's not a game that's going to appeal to newer people who've never played this. Honestly, if you like what you see in a game like this, I probably recommend playing on a private server that's a little bit faster paced, because this slow paced grind, unless you played it back in the day, you're really not going to appreciate it too much. I played this, ages ago, and I played an assist back then. I had a magician as well, and I had some pretty crazy fun AoEing. One of the things in this game that was really fun is you pull a bunch of enemies together very slowly, and then you AoE kill them, and it was very rewarding. It felt really nice. I like how they put these member of the violent magician troops like in the beginner areas too. Those guys are right outside the beginner area in town, so they can actually one-shot newbies because they're level 22. But yeah, you'll see how much experience I get when I kill this level 17. You always want to kill enemies a few levels higher than you in this game. We're 4.87. We can use our skill as well. He's at 1 HP anyway. We did not need the skill. We go from 4.87 to 8.1%. We got about 4% for killing this guy. A little bit less than that, which is not bad. But things will definitely slow down a bit more later on. We can probably kill these bangs pretty easily too, especially with these buffs. Always got to get those beginner buffs before you leave town. I do feel like some of the early skills don't really feel great. I feel like my auto attack does almost as much damage as my skills right now as a merc. It's the first time playing a mercenary. Obviously that's not the case when you're playing a magician and you're very reliant on your spells, but I feel like my abilities are quite weak as a merc. Oh god, we got to use a healing potion. Let's not die. I forgot how weak I am, man. These bangs are rough. Let's go back to my inventory. I forgot B's not inventory either. It's C. It's I for inventory. There we go. Let's go use one of these. Oh man, you gotta use a few of these potions. We can kill this guy now, I think. There we go. We gotta kill these level 17s. We don't have the gear to kill these bangs yet. We have awful gear right now. And a lot of these older MMORPGs had an interesting system with their gear as well. There was male and female gear, which I think is very odd, because if you get the wrong piece of gear, it's always a little annoying to kind of swap it out or trade with somebody to get the better gear. So, there's Rose armor is only for females, and men have their own armor as well. I think Ragnarok had some piece of gear like that too. I know Maple Story did as well. It was definitely kind of annoying though. Oh, we gotta use more of these. You heal pretty quick out of combat, so it's not too much downtime in between fights. But the core combat is very grindy. They did increase drop rates though, I'm pretty sure. I've been getting a lot of weapons and gear as drop, though everything's still pretty low level on my character. Got a desert card over there. I remember back when I first played this game, it was really fun because you'd buy the dice drops from people for like nothing. You'd buy them for like 2-3k. Oh, of course, there's a lot of inflation too. Anytime an older MMORPG survives this long, a lot of new money enters the game and the economy gets obscenely inflated. So it's very hard to purchase high-end gear because it's going to cost like billions and billions of in-game currency. And I think Flyff has that issue now as well. But it's a great game to come back to if you're nostalgic about it. I don't think it's going to appeal to too many new players, mainly because of how slow the grind is. The slow grind by itself can be pretty fun. Every time you level up, those skill points mean more to you, It just means more when you're leveling up. Every new gear drop you get, it really enhances your experience. You feel like you got stronger, and you do lose that in a lot of new games. I'm not sure where the balance is between slower paced gameplay and progression, because you can't go too fast and you can't go too slow. And this game is definitely a bit dated though. The skills are probably the weakest part as a melee character. I had way more fun with my abilities as a magician, but I feel like some of my abilities as I only have like 2 abilities right now too. I can't even get these till level 18, so I only have my slash and my protection ability. And protection, I believe, is a passive. So I only have actually the 1 skill right now. Now, when was the last time you played MMORPG at level 15? You have 1 skill. It really reminds you just how old this game is. But it's still remarkable to see so many people playing Fly for Fun. We don't want to pull 2. We pulled 2 by accident. Though the aggro in this game is pretty nuts. These guys are going to follow me for a long time. In a lot of games, they stop following you after you run like, 5 feet. Here, they don't give up so easy. They follow you for a little bit. Gotta kill some creepy Nyang-Nyangs. They're just crawling around. What are they supposed to be anyway? Whatever they are, we're gonna kill them in a second. Oh, we can kill this one. Look at that booty. That anime booty. But yeah, I mean, obviously the character models don't look great, but the cartoony look still, you know, definitely doesn't look as bad as some of the 3D older games. Older games like Shea, Last Chaos, they don't age nearly as well as stuff like Flyff. And then you have games like Aura Kingdom, for example, which I think will, you know, will look great even like 5-10 years from now. So a lot of these sleeker, newer anime games are going to be even better on that front because they'll look great regardless. But, you know, a fairly, you know, in-depth class system. You have the job changes. I did like job changes to a degree. A lot of games don't have that anymore even. Like, job changes let you at least look forward to something. You know, it's a big power boost. Oh, God, they just caught up to me, these two things, apparently. But, you know, once you get level 15, you get a big boost. And then you got to get to level 60 for the next big boost, then 130, I believe. And it's always, you know, a nice little milestone to look forward to. They better not still be following me. I think we're good. I think we're in the clear. We can kill some more creepy Yang-Yangs. But yeah, XP is definitely pretty slow paced. Again, even getting level 15 took a few hours. And, you know, if you want to grind, this is a lot of these old school games are good for grind. New games keep you moving around too much. So if you like old school grinders, definitely check out Fly for Fun. If you want something faster paced, you can check out a private servers for the game too. This is one of those games that have tons of private servers. A lot of these older MMORPGs survive and thrive on private servers. And it's still remarkable that this game has been running non-stop since 2005. I mean, I'm not sure what else Gala Labs does, but this game has definitely been paying the bills for them for a long time. And Webzen's kept it up since they bought it from G-Potato, and it's been running non-stop. But yeah, that's Fly for Fun. It's a classic, and I'm sure many of you guys have played this back in the day. And it's still around. It's really slow paced though, and some elements have definitely not aged very well. It reminds me of Rose Online as well, graphically. I forgot the pacing was in Rose Online. I think that's pretty slow paced as well. But if you want old school MMORPG to play, give it a try. If you like the anime aesthetic, I probably recommend something like Aura Kingdom instead, only because I think Aura Kingdom is definitely one of the best X-Legend games. If you haven't played it, probably check that one out. Anyway, guys, look at that booty. We can sign off with my anime booty right there. Anyway, guys, later.